My name is Leon. Well, my name is Hania. Mam 9 lat. I'm 9 years old.
9?
Yes.
Tak. Jak miałem 7 lat chyba?
Ja miałem 7 lat. Like 6 years. Sprawdzałem różne rzeczy.
Nie wiem.
You're playing the games, you're chatting with friends, like, or you just, I don't know, call your parents with the phone. Like, what do you use it for?
Oglądam YouTube i gram w Starsach. Tata GPT, nie wiem, no tutaj bardziej to chyba, nie wiem, jakieś puzzle.
Na przykład?
Oglądam i wyszukuję różne rzeczy w Google. Używam YouTube'a, Whatsappa, telefonu, maili, Brawl Starsa.
Nie wiem. No dla mnie, no to najbardziej to chyba nie.
A chciałbyś, żeby ci zabrali teraz telefon?
W ogóle.
No.
Nie.
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 Czemu nie?
Bo nie miałbym na czym grać po komputerach.
No normalnie bym nie używał, tylko nie lubię. Phones are good.
Good?
But for me it's not good. Spend a lot of time on the phone.
Coś oglądasz tak na YouTube, nie wiem,
Yeah,
TikTok?
YouTube. I don't have TikTok.
Okay.
I'm too small for this.
A jak ty rozumiesz, że to nie jest dobre dla ciebie?
No, dla mojego wzroku.
Okay, my name is Konrad. I'm 42 and I'm father of 7 years old Felek and 17 years old Matilda. Yes, they do, but only the older one. My daughter has a phone since she was 11, something like that. And the younger one, the boy, hasn't a phone yet, but I think he has time to be ready, to be prepared for his own phone, so he's using ours. To be honest, I think I'm not sure, to be honest, but I feel something above 10 years, so 10 years plus. No, it's a dangerous behavior to try control a teenager phone. I think the majority positive aspects are learning and discovering new ways to learn new things like programming, like building bricks on digital Lego. But I think this is not the majority, but the minority. And majority is bad things. Because my younger son has a specific needs, and he got some issues with concentration and some issues with sensory integration. So he's looking for some special needs and special treatment. I see exactly what is the impact of the digital devices on his brain. So his concentration, and he cannot, when he's watching gaming programs, or maybe when he's playing games on Nintendo or something like that, even if it's not super fast or is like something like super slow, like Mario or something like that, he's always distracted. This is the main reason that I'm here, because I feel that on this boy who has different needs, it's visible. It's easier for me as a parent to see it because he's like open book. When he's watching something, I see the difference. When he's not, I see the difference. But I think it's way more harder to see it in kids with maybe different needs, like not that sensitive. When you're asking me about impact of digital devices to a kids, it's obvious for me that this is a huge civilization problem. When he's using the devices during, for example, gaming, he has a focused vision. So anything around him doesn't exist. But after, when he finished the session, he's disturbed, he lost his concentration, and you cannot find any way to find to communicate with him. His sister, the teenager, has different brain construction that Felix, but I saw always the different behavior after, for example, our session of digital device. His behavior is rarely nervous. He's not that type. He's just locked in his own world, and you cannot find a way to communicate with him. First of all, every parent should be involved in every step of his child with the device. When you know what your child is consuming in the internet, you will easier find a solution to fix it. And the second thing is to dose. To not overdose, you should dose. The kid should know the boundaries, what is the specific timing with the device every day or every week, something like that. So in our home, in our house, there's a few rules. There are a few rules. First, gaming, like Nintendo, he can only play during the weekends. That's why he totally forgot about gaming and lost the interest of gaming and Nintendo. This is cool for us because I rather prefer to go with this kid for a bicycle ride or something like that, and I really see the difference when we make analog things like riding a bike, like laying on the grass, like watching the sky and watching the birds flying, something like that. It's really much more important, and it's visible difference in every kid behavior when you make the old school analog things, not the digital, because even the adults, me as adults, my procrastination is much more often and bigger when I using a phone like 4 or 5 hours a day. I think then I feel, less energy, much more sleepier, tired, something like that. And it's not a problem it's not a kid's problem, it's everyone's problem, because I see on myself that it's a huge difference in my behavior when I'm using or overdosing digital devices. We are losing dopamine, we're losing interest of things, we procrastinate. I don't want to sound like a boomer or old guy who's saying that previously everything was easier and better, but I rather prefer to work on the computer and like focus on the working side of using digital devices and learning. Overdosing of digital devices is like very dangerous for our brain, because it's not changing the structure of our brain, or maybe it is, but I'm still looking for dopamine shots because of social media, and I see this behavior in my kids because when he using like the phone in his grandmother's house, and she's not looking what he's doing, and he discovered the shorts or Instagram this
Instagram
shorts, right? Behavior is changing instantly, and this is the huge problem for people all the way, like for civilization. So I know it, but I'm not sure that I'm behaving like a role model, because my addiction is stronger, every day, and I think it's harder for every parent to be a role model and make rules is the best word here, because we know that we are overdosing too. So it's a huge problem for us as a parents to act like a role models and stand behind our words and our decisions. So it's a huge problem.
Welcome to our podcast, How Digital Devices Impact Children, the podcast where we explore the intricate relationship between technology and child development. I'm Anastasia.
My name is Kiriana.
And I'm Sofia.
And we are students of SVPS University in Warsaw.
And talking about the data we've researched through, we can say that it is fully reliable, as it's quite a new and novel scope, and fully we wanted to mention exactly generation alpha. But as they're just growing and as they're fully immersed in this digital world, it's quite difficult for us to be 100% sure that that's true what we can read.
Exactly, so today we're going to deep dive into the duality of such topic, enhancing that there are no certain answers such as your phone is bad for you or good for you. We're going to emphasize how the different sides we're going to look at and how it may affect your children. So let's get started. And so we made a survey for parents on how do gadgets influence their kids. And we asked firstly what's the age of the parents, surely, and the majority of them answered from 40 to 50, and the other 38% said that they're in the range from 30 to 40. The next question was that how old is your kid? And the majority answered they're from 6 to 10, whereas the other more than 31% said that their kids are already around 16 to 18 years old. Speaking of the nationality, we'd consider this as our limitation because most of the answers were got from Ukrainian parents, but it also crucial to mention that there were Russian, Turkmenian and Polish parents. And so we asked also when did your kid get a phone for the first time, and what actually was not that surprising for us is that their kids, of the majority of more than 53%, said that they give a phone to their kid in the age from 7 to 9 years old.
Yeah, and also we asked, do you control your children's phone activities? 57% answered that yes, and 43% answered that no. And next question was, if yes, how do you control? Most of the answers were about family link, parent control, also when parent just watching like what their kid is doing. And also we asked about how do you think gadgets have positive or negative impact on your kid. So like 41% answering then it's like positive influence, 50 like influence like negative and positive, was like 26%, and negative one 32%. And also we asked why they think in that way.
So most of the parents said that it would be quite great for the kid just to develop in such a specific scope, or if he's interested, for example, in dinosaurs, and the kid can read something about it or learn more about some information. And so most of the parents answered in that way that they really rely on some intellectual possibilities when using their phones. But some of the parents had some thoughts about that the phone can take a lot of time, displace more physical activities of their kid. And some physical aspects like their vision can be more blurred or can be lower. But still, most of the parents thought that it can be a great opportunity for their kids.
Yeah, emphasizing that this is for their own development, such as like communication skills, learning new languages, and so on.
Yeah, and we also asked what's the perfect age for starting using a phone, and which is surprising, 33% answered that the perfect age is 6 and 7 years old, and yeah, surprising thing, but 29% of parents think that the perfect age is like 18, so yeah.
So, coming up to the modulating factors in the impact of digital devices, what are your suggestions?
I think content can impact on some cognitive outcomes.
Yeah, in fact, the content consumed is quite a big, it's a major, I guess, factor that really shows how the kid will be developed. Like if he's using the phone just for scrolling TikTok or watching some YouTube videos, it has some lower outcomes rather than just reading ebooks or learning about some specific scope.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you're talking about, like the engagement type, right? Because the passive way of just watching the TV, doom scrolling, or even binge watching like some episodes can, I think, affect our kids in very different ways. Whereas, like in the comparison to active engagement, such as I don't know, posting something even or playing the games, you know, have very different impacts on kids.
Yeah, for sure. And also, talking about some physical activities, as you said, like something posting, it's a displacement of developmental activity. For example, the kid could be active with his friends rather than posting something. And if he uses his phone for like 10 hours a day, it has some different effects than like talking to his friends in real life, or replacing it with some physical activities, maybe playing with his games and so on. But have you ever thought about like some neural transmissions and neural processes in the mind when a kid using this phone?
No, actually not really. Like it's still a deep dark forest, especially for me.
I heard something but I'm not sure.
I'm 100% sure that you have heard about dopamine usage. Not usage, neurotransmitters.
Yeah, sure.
Like it's increasing our dopamine levels and like it's lowers like overall for our life engagement.
Yeah, I'm sure that you've heard also that it fosters our habit addiction.
Like what?
Like here starts the so-called reward system, which involves some molecular pathways of neurotransmitters which are released and neurotrophic factors. So digital interactions stimulate dopamine release, which enhances the hippocampus to remember and learn that this really gives us so much satisfaction. That's why it's so difficult to stop using your phone when you're in your Instagram or TikTok, and you just can't put up your phone and forget about it for like 10 minutes, especially when you're doing nothing.
That's insane.
True. I've noticed.
So here's the addiction starts.
Whoops.
Yeah, something like that. And maybe you something heard about BDNF?
What is that?
Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which supports neuron growth and synaptic plasticity and influenced by this digital engagement, potentially enhancing visual, spatial, neural connectivity, but excessive multitasking can overwhelm the brain's cognitive capacity, leading to shorter attention span, remember, and difficulty with task switching, especially because of these rapid responses that are like typing something to your friend and it's all rapid, a lot of pictures, images, and they're so colorful, and our brain just being overwhelmed. And that's according to CLT theory or cognitive load theory by John Sweller. Yeah, maybe you heard something.
Something.
Oh no.
About working memory.
Yeah, summer sometime. In the previous semester.
I hope so. So, basically, it was coined by John Sweller in 1988, something like that. And he suggested that our working memory has such a small capacity of information that can be stored in our brain, and he advised just to avoid overloading in order to maximize learning, which I guess is really key point, especially when we're talking about kids' development, because they can't really understand when do they should frustrate or when do they should continue their playing. Talking about some executive functions and how they are challenged while we doom scroll or during we answer to these rapid messages that are pop on our screen. And what I wanted to say is that it's quite difficult for our brain because it really challenges the executive functions, as I said previously, like working memory or inhibitory control or some flexibility, and they are all directed for goal-directed behavior, which are really important for us as they are quite good for adapting to new complex situations.
Yeah, speaking of such skills, I would like to mention social skills, or soft skills, as I've already said, because while gadgets offer us lots of new opportunities and connections, it also brings to us declines in social intelligence, especially for kids. And I'd like to mention a few of those parts, such as, for example, decreased empathy and social interactions and overall emotional responsiveness. That passive consumption of digital content, as we already mentioned, like TikTok, YouTube, and so on. It desensitizes children to other emotions because they're passively just consumed what we see. Also, it's about dopamine level as well. And moreover, it's empathy declines further while children lack opportunities of resolving a conflict, console others, or express concern face to face, because they're all the time there and they're disconnected from real life integrations and connections overall. Moreover, it's increased social anxiety and avoidance. That's because gadgets become a tool for avoidance in the way that children escape stressful situations or even situations when they feel anger or they're frustrated, just because they can easily look at their phone, be distracted by TikTok or anything else. And so this is how they're actually declining and postponing their own development. They're becoming more infantile in this way. like children also increasing fear in personal judgment, and they prefer curated, controlled interactions online because they basically doesn't have those skills. Because like, again, this avoidance hinders the development of social confidence, making it harder to navigate uncomfortable, unpredictable situations with others. Moreover, I'd like to mention poor listening, actually, because children raised on rapid digital, media and content, exactly, our favorite TikTok, they lose patience in real-time conversations, because you understand, like, when you're not 20, I don't know, like every second you're, stimulated by new information. Surely when you just talk in person, someone is listening to them, you just lose this concentration, this attention, this engagement. You become, again, easily distracted. So, this weakens their active listening skills, which is actually crucial for our daily life, connections, engagements, and so on and so on. But I'd like also to mention that it's not just all bad and negative, because, this is a very ambiguous and controversial topic, such as social media and overall digital devices. So, I'd like also to protect this somehow by saying that active and guided use of gadgets, actually, again, posting, peer collaboration, media co-viewing with parents can be. It actually can enhance social connection and support networks and emotional literacy. And I think that I've read it actually, it's not like I think it by my own, but I support this idea that platforms actually can help socially anxious or marginalized kids who cannot really fit in the society for some reasons, having a lack of social skills by, some of their disorders or something, and actually can help them express themselves in a safer environment. And parental mediation and emotional discussion during screen time can turn media from this monster, the beast that brings a lot of negative, into, a social intelligence teaching tool sometimes. So I think I want to enhance the duality on both negative and positive aspects of it.
So it's quite interesting that the topic is really controversial, and because of that it's much more interesting for us to research in such scope and to tell it to more people, to share it with people, because it's really new field in the study, especially because of Generation Alpha, who is now only rising, and only in 10 or 20 years we will see the consequences of this phone usage, which is quite scary as well.
Actually, have you heard about dry eye disorder?
It's like my mom scared me with that years ago, but
yeah, actually symptoms include dryness in the eye, redness, discharge, blurred vision, and easily tired eyes. Yeah.
So it's not young.
Actually, yeah. And I found some key findings about that. So, association between screen time and DAD. Numerous studies indicate a strong correlation between extended digital screen use and increased risk of DAD. For instance, office workers using screen time for over 8 hours daily exhibited a higher likelihood of developing DAD. So, yeah. Impact of blinking dynamics also. Digital screen usage alters blinking patterns, leading to reduced blink rates and incomplete blinks. And this disruption hampers the even disruption of tears across the ocular surface, contributing to tear film, instability, and ocular dryness.
yo,
Jesus, okay. Yeah, it's so
unexpected,
It's
honestly.
quite important for me, actually. And also tear film alterations. Short-term activities such as 20 minutes of video gaming have been shown to decrease tear meniscus height and tear breakup time, indicating immediate adverse effects on tear film quality. Film quality.
Whoa.
Yeah. Shocked
That's
after
even worse.
Yeah. And also I found some researchers children's screen time, we are talking about childs, research indicates that children with a usage around 30 minutes per a day with, in a computer usage had a higher chance of experiencing moderate to severe dry eye. The study suggests that simulative device exposure exceeding 3 to 3.5 hours daily significantly increases the risk of pediatric DAD.
Oh, I'd say somehow, like, listening to you, it's quite understandable and logic actually somehow.
Yeah.
And I would like, to take an advantage and talk a little bit more again that, speaking of that, children may have heavy usage, the screen time and so on. I'd like to talk a little bit about social media again. Since I'm an advocate and overall I present this topic of emotional, side, social. Because social media I think is one of the most demanding part of the usage in the phone. And again, speaking of social media, it's not that clear cut if it's so bad or so good and positive. And I'd like to talk a little bit that social media has different implications on children's mental health. And so, I don't know, what do you want to start from, negative or positive parts? Because negative they're a little bit more, but still both. You can pick whatever you like.
Can we do maybe negative one?
Okay, you should think.
Negative.
Okay, let's destroy this topic literally.
Let's finish with some positive things.
So speaking of the negative impact, it's how I call it, psychological distress. Speaking more in details about it, it's actually composing of lower self-esteem, that the children may develop a distorted sense of self-worth, of their body image based on those unrealistic, photoshopped, AI generated, those photos and bodies, and overall they're seeing their, perfect images, they're seeing this perfect life, lots of followers, and they develop this inner feeling of very low, so low self-worth because they don't have it. That's not what they see in their real life, thinking that something's wrong with me actually specifically because everyone is better than I am.
Because they see just positive things in the page and they don't see negative things in the labs.
One of those negative sides of using social media, actually it causes depression earlier than it can occur in the teens. And overall within the years, some of the longitudinal studies showed that as soon as they started to use social media as a kid, actually as faster in their already young adolescents or young adults, they developed a more severe way of depression and anxiety because that puts a lot of pressure on them, seeing those images every day on a daily basis.
It's actually because there are so much traumatized people just for the social media, and they don't really understand how to treat it or how to minimize it because talking about dopamine again. We're going back to our brain and
and not speaking only about adults and adolescents, but also we're talking about kids, children, which are way more easy to put on this influence of a beautiful picture. So it puts on them a lot of pressure at the very young age, which is very concerning and actually scary, especially for parents themselves, nowadays. And using social media, especially when it's overused, it can cause overall general emotional behavioral challenges, as we already actually mentioned, as we already discussed, and increased anxiety, as we already discussed as well. I just wanted to enhance it one more time. It's anxiety in kids, not only in already young adults. Moreover, I'd like to mention fastly that anxiety that caused by social media usage actually has some disturbances in sleep. I think we'll talk a little bit more about it later. But like just to enhance that, because of this excessive worry of difficulties of concentrating, like restlessness and sleep disruption, like these symptoms are often misdiagnosed as behavioral issues rather than recognized as signs of anxiety. That's why I'd like to enhance it. That should be quite, specific about it and attentive when we talk about it. Also, like it's nice to mention, I think, screen time threshold, of course, and like as I already said, like overuse of social media, and children using screens for more than 2 hours a day had significantly worse mental health actually than according to those who used it less than 2 hours a day. But I think that, to be honest, I don't know what kids use their like social media less than 2 hours a day, unless this is controlled by a parent.
Especially remembering our survey that tells a lot about the time children use their phone.
True.
And talking about digital media, as you said previously, have you heard about the Pokemon game?
Yeah,
It
was like
popular 7 years ago.
I think 7 years.
Yeah.
Maybe I think more, like 10. I don't remember actually.
Yeah, but do you know that it has a real big effect on our somatosensory cortex?
Oh.
So, not somatosensory, but a visual system, especially
right.
ventral,
But
just
it's actually like surprising
Still
too,
not
like.
sure. That's so clear.
So, talking about the visual system, it has some changes because these people who used to play some Pokemon game or see some Pokemon movies, they have some changes in their high visual areas, mainly in ventral temporal lobe, because these Pokemon figures have quite a strange formation because they quite look like a person and have some humanistic behavior, which really can cause some different effects on our mind, but still we don't know the real consequences of this because there are no real studies about is it good or bad for people, but still they all have some specific changes. All these people that they were studied on, they have some specific changes in their visual system.
So can we actually talk that if the kids who watched those Pokemon shows back in the days, right? We're talking about this one. So can we actually assume that kids who watched Disney movies where there are also animals, but they're very anthropomorphic? I'll search later. They're very human-like made. Does it make us also does it have an impact, which we cannot, I think, answer really in this time, but I think it's very also curious topic to make research about.
And
Not for us, not for right now, but
but
will
be. And only time shows.
Exactly.
It's the strangest and the freakiest thing you guess about our mind that the only time will show what consequences will be of this overusage, of this overloading, and so on.
Yeah, we cannot make any rigid and specific opinions right now,
Yes, only according to some millennial or some Gen Z, I guess, researchers, but still
Still assumptions actually.
they're really young, so people can just open their brain and see everything.
True. I wish they could.
Let's do it right now! Are you preparing for it?
Oh, sorry.
Are you preparing for it?
Okay, so I want to talk about sleep problems, gadgets. A significant proportion of children and adolescents experience lack of sleep, with approximately 30% of preschool-age children and between 50 to 80% of school-age children and adolescents not meeting recommended sleep duration. The widespread use of screen-based media is identified as likely contributory to this trend. And some key findings: adverse association. Over 90% of studies we found that increased screen time correlates with delayed bedtime and reduced total sleep duration. And time displacement, which is like still like true. Time spent on screens replaces time that could be spent sleeping.
But it's very like it's real life experience.
Yeah, because like they are trying to sleep, but they started like to go like with some TikTok, Insta, and then you can scroll all the night. Like for me, it's like that's
basic
true.
stuff. I also face it a lot, like because during the day it was so overwhelmed. I had all of those things to think about, things to do, and in the end, when you finally actually have to go to sleep because tomorrow is going to be another intense day, we were just like, where is my leisure time? Where is my doom scrolling? I just want to brain rot a little. This is how you postpone your sleep, which is actually way more crucial. Just spending hours on TikTok or whatever, or like Insta.
Unfortunately. I'm actually sad.
But nobody will do it towards it.
Yeah, again.
Because of
because it's not that easy to break this pattern. Also like those applications were made to keep us in it, to make us addicted to it.
So people are against people.
Actually, I would say industries are against normal, very normal people.
Like us. True. Okay, and second one is psychological stimulation. Engaging media content can heighten alertness, making it harder to fall asleep. So like remember when you scroll like a lot of like TikTok or maybe something, you are so like
stimulated.
So it's actually hard to go to sleep. And I heard that you have to put your phone away like for 1 hour and then go to sleep. So
I heard it like 3 hours.
Oh,
3 hours. But actually that's because you are so like I forgot. Stimulated. Because of phone. And light exposure, blue light from screens can disturb circadian rhythms and suppress melatonin production, affecting sleep onset and quality. I think that's hard.
Actually, I put it at some point because I've heard a lot about like circadian rhythms and this blue light. This is so bad. That nowadays you have like those glasses with the specific lenses that it protects from this blue light or something. At some point I put it like a specific red mode on all of my devices.
I saw it. We saw it.
And I actually noticed the difference.
Yeah, true. So like my eyes were like so rested. Like and when I put it I turned off this I don't know how to say it.
This regime
like something. It was like actually so hard to look on the phone. Really, because it's too bright, it's too colorful, and etc. Actually, it's really helpful.
Because I've noticed like when I put this red
red
screen, before going to sleep, like within an hour or two before, it's actually easier to put the phone aside and actually to go sleep. This is really working. And what I'm talking about is literally like this type of a red screen. Because night shift, it's good, but I feel like it still doesn't, fully decline this blue light. So
I think I have another one, like a pink one. I'm not sure.
Well, it's nice info for you as well too.
And also I want to mention that children are more sensitive to light than adults due to physiological differences, making them more susceptible to the effects of screen emitted light. So that's actually not really.
They're even more
from children, because they are so sensitive, they are
Because their eyes can develop.
like body. So conclusion that the pervasive use of digital media among children and adolescents is strongly associated with adverse sleep outcomes, including delayed bedtimes and reduced sleep duration. Multiple mechanisms such as time displacement, psychological stimulation, and exposure to screen-emitted light contribute to this effect.
Comes to the parents who should supervise their kids. And according to Radesky theory, children learn through guided participation and collaboration, collaborative dialogue with some more progressed others, such as parents or peers. While digital devices can facilitate social interaction through online platforms, excessive use can reduce this face-to-face conversation socialization and hinder the development of social cognition, empathy, as you said previously, and emotional regulation. So I guess here comes the part to our children, or to our parents, who should be a model for their kids. Show that it's better to go to bed earlier rather than sitting in your TikTok.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to say a word about parents, that they're not only like making an influence on, you know, looking after the kid, how much time they spend, like before going to sleep and so on, what you've already mentioned, but also how do parents use their own digital devices is super crucial, especially like mobile phones and their like computers, iPads.
Yeah, I guess
some gadgets.
Yeah. Because based on the study, digital devices usage by kids didn't have any impact itself. The usage of parents did influence a lot their kids, because when parents just, you know, again after a working day, tired, loaded, came to home, and they, you know, instead of spending time with their kid, they just open their phone and chatting or whatever, again like Insta, Facebook, and so on. And their kids, like, you know, searching for attention. They come like, "Mommy, can I show you like the picture?" Or like, "Daddy, you know what happened today in the school?" Or like, this guy, this boy that I really like in my kindergarten, he just like smiled on me today, it's blah 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 blah. And what like the kid actually like see itself in this picture is that parent having this you know, still like, I don't know, stone like poker face, doesn't showing any interest, any involvement, just maybe replying by yeah, all right, oh how nice, not even looking at the, you know, kid itself, which actually having a lot of like huge impact, because kid, you know, it doesn't get enough of the skills of like, you know, face to face, in a way that they cannot recognize different emotions and like the display, you know, on the face to different I don't know, situations, like the things they tell. And this is like in further like formative age, like years, can look like that they lack of social skills a lot. So what I want to enhance is that by such it's called like actually phobing. It's like phone sobbing thing. Is when, you know, this term means that a person, whether it's a parent or a kid, is like looking at the phone and is involved at such degree that doesn't basically notice anything that is surrounding him or her, and what is like, you know, happening around overall. And so this phobing is super honestly like how to say, harmful for a kid. Because further it really postpones the development. Also they cannot really learn how to display emotions themselves. You know, so mediation of children in the way of usage digital devices, and moreover mediation of usage like themselves of those devices is crucial.
Yeah, actually, I saw a lot of mothers like on some, I don't know, on the street actually, when child is talking to, like his or her mother, and she's just like, she's not answering, she's just ignoring. Like, the child is talking like how his life is going. And mom just like, and really poker face, and that's actually so sad.
Yeah, overall, like the situation looks very, like, I don't know, depressing. But moreover, it has a lot of like, consequences.
Yeah, it's actually.
Because also, like, speaking of the emotional regulation, the kid doesn't have the tools, basically, how to regulate himself, his emotions, his reactions, because the kid doesn't have, the role model in the, face of a parent, like, that could show him and display him or her how should one's manage it all.
Actually, while we're not talking about video games and how it causes aggression in kids, because I heard about it all the time, like everybody is saying that it's really like caused aggression, and kids started to be wild.
Well, like what I know based on the researches what I did and everything like that, like, with the video games, it's not that easy to say that, they cause aggression or the kid became more irritated just because of it. Like, he played shooters for some hours.
But everybody is saying that.
Like,
it's actually like a fact. Like, a lot of people think that it's a fact. Like, I think it's a fact.
I know, yeah, but I feel like it's just, we are by our nature we all the time want to make things easier, to find one like bad thing and connect everything with that. Bad things connected to that. Whereas actually with video games, we cannot be sure what is the cause, what is like the first thing, because we cannot say really what depends on what. Since we could say that maybe already like kids who are prone to display more aggression, irritation, and so on, like maybe they have this temper, just already like they're born with it, because we've discussed that like temper and everything, and they tend to just play those games, or it's like vice versa, and kids who play both like shooting games, I don't know.
And some aggression, like maybe there's some just violence.
Yeah, violent games.
Yeah.
Like, that after that they became more aggressive. Like, we cannot be sure about it.
But I think it has some influence actually.
There's like, maybe there's even like a third variable of that, basically they experience bullying in school or cyberbullying, or I don't know, in their family system, something's going wrong. Like, there can be a lot and lots of, things. Why does it come from?
Yeah, and there are no correlation studies that really show the causation. Yeah, but still, I read a lot of information that there are a lot of positive effects from gaming, especially in visual spatial skills, because video games, particularly those involving action and adventure, require players to navigate three-dimensional worlds, understand the maps, understand the graphs, and this really enhance their abilities, especially visual spatial, as I said, and they're really crucial for success in various academic and everyday tasks. As I said, reading maps, understanding graphs, and just navigating. And also, I've heard a lot of studies that VR is now can be not really considered, but it's a new approach in therapeutic method, especially for people with some phobias. They are dived into these heights. For example, people who are afraid of heights, they dived into this space, but they're still in the in the glasses. Maybe you heard something about that?
Yeah, I think I did. Like about some research with a woman that got through this like type of I don't know if I can say therapy, this experiment.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting and it's really good for our society that they don't get only negative aspects from VR that are considered within monks, but also some positive effects like therapeutic new approach. Also, I've heard that it enhances the spatial skills through digital device usage and can benefit children with specific learning abilities, disabilities such as dyslexia and ASD, which involves difficulties with spatial, orientation and visual processing.
So yeah, we're talking about that our own those devices finally we're trying to make them for our own good, not just like for I don't know our again binge watching or like just to I don't know display our aggression in those shooting games or whatever, but also as you mentioned like those VR classes, not just for fun but actually for specific purposes. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and maybe I guess you played something about like SimCity or maybe Minecraft, which was really
I love Sims actually. That's
and it's really good for your problem-solving skills and strategic thinking because it really requires some planning tasks, prioritizing, logical reasoning, and just thinking how to do that or that. And often children are required to follow some complicated instructions, make strategic plans, decisions, solve puzzles. So it also can be quite positive for our developing minds, not only harm, like binge watching, but also some really increasing potential games.
But there's some negative consequences of video games, I would say.
No.
Like physical ones.
For example.
How do you sit? How do you feel like how you sit when you play some computer games? Actually, like when you scroll something, like your head is going down. When you like going to the you have like crumbs, back because you play like this in this posture and the neck, and it's all like in another way.
Like this man of the future.
Man of the future. Have you seen like how our body will look like in the future because of video gaming and actually gadgets?
Like he doesn't have his neck.
Like he had like really like bad posture. He had I don't know.
A big hole?
Because
the headphones.
Because of the headphones, I think you saw like some really like when some video gamers and bloggers, I saw some guy, they cut his hair and they was like really big. Because of headphones.
So
that's actually like insane.
And I hope it wouldn't be true, especially for the generation Alpha, because oh my god, it's really
like
terrifying.
As you already said the time.
True. But anyway, I have some research about like posture and physical effect of video games. Research study was conducted to evaluate the excessive, prolonged use of smartphones in relation to musculoskeletal problems and postural modification with its corresponding effects on the respiratory function. Recent analysis in Canada unveils smartphone users tend to complain neck, shoulder and front and back pain, which aggravates with increased use. And rounded shoulders was further associated with a sedentary lifestyle in relation to excessive smartphone usage. And also, which is really was surprising for me, I think for you guys too, like breathing functionality, because revealed lower values of peak expiratory flow, forced expiratory flow, and forced expiratory capacity.
Because of this all round
round posture, and you start to be like faster.
Okay.
Faster. And also, Adults spend prolonged time in the toilet room, which is more than 20 to 30 minutes, exaggerated to hemorrhoidal diseases, and is now a routine question asked by the doctors when any patient presents with lower gastrointestinal tract symptoms. Which is really like, I think, really like true for adults when you go to the toilet and you can like just take your phone, just usual thing, you know, and we don't like think about it, how it can be like effective, yeah.
Well, that's something very unexpected for me, honestly, personally. Yeah, I wouldn't say that has such consequences.
So we can really prove that our body is connected totally from toes to head.
Yeah,
100%.
and the harmful low-grade radio frequency emitting from the cell phones also increases the risk of the brain tumors in children as they are still in the development stages of their lives, which absorbs these radiations in the brain, and apoptosis in a gene expression level is expected. But studies are still being conducted through association between those critical factors and incidence of brain tumors. But yeah, actually, it's just so like scary for me.
It is,
because like, yeah, it's child and he's still developing. So yeah. And I would like to talk about, if we're talking about like physiology, about sensory-motor. According to Piaget's theory, because I just don't know how to pronounce it. Theory, those stages are critical for developing foundational skills like logical thinking, problem solving. Excessive screen time can displace hands-on learning experiences and social interactions, which are crucial for cognitive development. The sensory motor, which is like from birth to 2 years old, and pre-operational, which is like from 2 to 7. So the stages are crucial for developing sensory motor skills, logical thinking, and problem solving.
So everything starts from really early childhood.
Yeah,
and talking about some early exposure. I was curious when I've seen the surveys that there was like their kid got their first phone like from 0 to 3 years. I was shocked, like, oh my god,
just so little child. Like he's
actually it happens a lot nowadays. Yeah, because a lot of my like friends of friends or a girl that makes she told me some stories also about her friends that like, you know, like giving an iPad to a kid, and the kid is like 2 years old and he's already, you know, knowing everything, how to navigate in it, and basically that's where the kid's spending his whole day.
I really judge.
And actually, I would like to, like, you know, to mention the emotional aspect of early exposure to devices, because the kids who are exposed to smartphones from infancy, like before 7 years old, as a like digital pacifier, you know, was like, I'll give you an iPad, you don't bother me. You know, nowadays it happens a lot, as we already discussed through the podcast.
Yeah, and it's really like scary because through the time it will be like just be high. Like the kid will, like, I think 10 years, like kids will like have their phone like really like from birth, which is really scary.
Yeah, probably. And like this exposure leads to mental illness because the kid over reliant on his like device, his memory, his problem solving over like thinking, and even emotion processing, you know. The kid, again, we're talking about this infantility, like in a kid in terms of all of his actually developmental, you know, like skills.
Yeah.
And moreover, like it's an overall decreased curiosity and creative thinking. Because, you know, why would you be creative?
ChatGPT.
Exactly. Or if there is all the answers already within like one question to the GPT, and this is it. And I think it's time for the conclusion. And I'd like to say that I, as a representative of emotional and social development of the children, and this gadget impact on them, I'd like to emphasize that even though we're talking about how bad or good the influence of those digital devices are, it doesn't really matter, because I'd like to make a kindly reminder that you are a parent, if you are, and you are a person who's fully in charge actually of your own child, at least until some specific age. And in those formative years, it's, I think, very important for you as a parent to understand this responsibility, understand that actually you are the center, you are the giver for your children, and it's very crucial for you to be aware of it. And this is it.
So me, as I talked about physical aspects, I would like to add that reminder that just excessive usage can cause a lot of problems. If you will manage the time, the use of when you use this phone, when your child uses phone, you can use it for beneficial, for some education and a lot of things, because phone has a lot of information. We have a lot of sources right now we can use for good, for our well-being. So yeah, just to reminder, have this balance, not overuse technology.
Yeah, and I was the last one to talk, and I was talking previously about some cognitive functions, and as I said previously, it's quite a controversial topic, and we can't really rely on every data we read, because everything has both sides of the vision. Somebody would always say that technologies are bad, and somebody would always say that, oh my god, I'm so glad that ChatGPT is existing right now. But still, we're talking more about brain development, especially of small kid who doesn't really understand the full scale of the consequences he can have because of using his phone, which is quite terrifying, especially after reading all the studies that shows that there are some changes in the brain, in our face, in our fingers even. And I hope this wouldn't go even further and become even more terrifying for our generation, especially next generation.
Yeah, so awareness is the key.
And supervising.
And parents are mediators of all of it, actually.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to enhance. And again, not to forget about the duality of it.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us for this whole time.
Yeah. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah.
I hope that you get some new information for you, and you will use it only with
in the right way.
Yes.
Only for your own good, and maybe not only yours.
And your child.
Yeah.
If you have one.
Yeah. And just take care of your child, and that's it.